Do you ever feel like you're doing all of the healing work, but you're still having the same issues, still getting triggered in the same ways? Like part of you knows better, part of you wants to respond differently, but another part just can't help but keep reacting. Here's what most women don't realize. There's not just one self you're trying to evolve and grow. There are actually three. Your inner child, your wise adult self, and your higher self. And when these three parts aren't working together, you feel fragmented, not aligned. I'm Liz, and I'm an intuitive healer and former psychologist, and I've seen the power that understanding these parts of ourselves and working on integrating them has on your healing journey. It changes the game. So in this video, I'm going to be talking with you about these three parts of yourself, what you need to do to attend to them, and how to bring yourself into integration so that you can feel truly healed and like you're aligning to your highest self. And stay till the end of the video because I'm going to be sharing a simple daily practice you can use every day to help you with this integration process. So let's dive in. Okay, before we go into how to integrate these three parts of yourself, let me take a moment to just define what they are and how they may show up in your life and how they relate to your healing journey. First, let's take your inner child, right? Your inner child self. Your inner child is the part of you that holds all of your past experiences, particularly experiences that are related to attachment, related to your experience of love and safety in the world and what that was like when you were young, and any past wounding or moments where you felt rejected, abandoned, or unseen by the people around you. That's all being held by your inner child. So she can really show up and take over in any situations where those things are touched a little bit inside of you. So these are things like when you get like triggered in your relationships because something happens that really touches on your abandonment wound or your rejection wound. Whenever there's any fear of abandonment, that's going to bring up that inner child part of yourself. When you find yourself seeking external validation or constantly people pleasing, when you're overthinking everything and trying to make things perfect, or when you just like shut down and can't deal because there's too much going on. These are all reactions that come from the wounded inner child kind of taking over, right? And so much of the time when you are, especially at the beginning of your healing and spiritual journey, you're going to feel like that inner child is very present and taking up a big part of your internal consciousness, right? And that's completely normal. That's the point of this journey, to move from that place to eventually embodying your more and more of your higher self. But sometimes the challenges come, the points of stuckness in your healing come when we try to jump from being mostly our inner child, our wounded inner child, to embodying our higher self, right? When we've experienced a spiritual awakening and we start to realize there's more to life, I can be this more soul-based, higher version of me, we want to jump there right away. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what helps get us moving on the journey. Yet we can kind of get stuck because it's practically impossible to do when you still have this wounded inner child that needs attention, right? And so what needs to happen in the journey is actually developing a second part of you that's going to act as a bridge from that inner child to the higher self, right? And the second part of you that is in there and needs development is this wise adult self. So let me define who she is. The wise adult self, we like to skip her sometimes, so I want to give her a good amount of attention in this video because she's really going to make the difference on your journey. Your wise adult self is your present day self that has matured, that can emotionally regulate, and that can deal with your day-to-day life and experiences in a conscious and intentional way, right? And we all have her within us, but the degree that she is developed and strong and skilled and is able to take the lead in our daily life is going to vary a lot from person to person. So she is really the part of you that we want to develop in order to be able to attend to our wounded inner child and begin to embody more and more of our higher self. So she's really going to step up when it comes time to set healthy boundaries in relationship, when your inner child is being triggered and needs soothing. That's the part of you that's going to do that. That's going to do the reparenting that's necessary, right? She's going to be the one that makes aligned decisions for your life and can listen to the intuition that your higher self is trying to bring to you. She's the one who's going to be able to take responsibility and recognize her patterns and her choices in our life and make different choices. And she's really responsible for creating emotional safety and alignment. And so, like I said, in your healing journey, she may be at the beginning a little less present, a little weaker, but as you grow and evolve, she's going to get stronger and stronger, and she's going to be able to nurture that inner child part of yourself more and more. And that centeredness, that power, that emotional regulation and stability is what eventually gives you the ability to really hold and embody the higher self energy, right? So this is where personal psychological growth meets spiritual healing, spiritual alignment. Those two things come together. Okay? And so let's talk about your higher self for a second, and then we'll talk about how to combine them afterward. What is your higher self? Your higher self is the soul version of you. She is bigger than your human self. She is that more connected to the divine. She sees the whole picture of your life and what you're meant to do here on this journey. She knows your path. She's a part of you that is really the intuitive part that brings through that higher guidance. She can be in divine alignment, divine timing. She's comfortable with surrender. She also can hold such unconditional love for you and can guide you on your healing journey, on your life's journey, to the things that you're meant to experience, you're meant to embody, all the things that you're desiring to manifest into your life. She knows the way, right? So she is an extremely important part of you to connect to and to give attention to when you're on this journey, but you can't embody her without nurturing that inner child, because if you don't nurture that inner child and heal that part of you, she's going to take over and sabotage you every time, right? So you need to be able to nurture and embody the inner child. We do that by really developing that wise adult self and having the ability to self-regulate and to make conscious choice. And then as that wise adult self gets stronger and more centered, then we can step into the guidance and follow the path our higher self gives us. And so we start to integrate all of those energies together, right? And so really the spiritual healing journey is moving on a continuum from being mostly your wounded inner child and having that part of us be the strongest part, to healing and integrating that part, developing the wise adult self, starting to really center there and letting the wise adult self take the lead. And then naturally that opens up to holding more and more of that higher self energy. And that is where you're going on the spiritual journey. So we're making that progress. And so we need to give all three selves, all three parts of us, attention and time and growth and healing. The inner child is going to need compassion and room to have her emotions heard and processed. The wise adult self is going to need skills in order to stay emotionally regulated, in order to stay centered and grounded, in order to do things like set boundaries with other people, communicate effectively, show up in the world, right? So we need to give her that kind of growth and healing. And then the higher self is going to need practices which allow you to get quiet and to hear her wisdom and guidance to be able to follow through with her. So when we're attending and when we're really noticing all these parts of ourselves, that's when we can start to move forward and be in alignment in our journey, okay? And so here is that simple daily practice, daily ritual you can use in order to start this integration. And that is simply every day checking in with yourself on these three parts, right? So every day, what does my inner child need today? How is she feeling? What would make her feel soothed and satisfied and comfortable and safe? Okay. Also, how does my wise higher self want to progress through my day? What are my intentions? What is the goal for today in terms of where I want to respond and how I want to stay centered and what healing I want to do for my day? And then lastly, what is my higher self reminding me of and inspiring me toward? And so spend a little bit of time with this every day, maybe with your journal, some quiet time in the morning reflecting on this. That will start you being able to give attention to all of these three parts and working on them coming together so that you can get to your most highest aligned version of yourself easily, effortlessly, without forcing, without trying to spiritually bypass, without pushing that inner child away and not attending to her. This is the pathway to healing that feels in flow, in ease, and gets you to where you want to go and what you want to experience in your life. And so if you want help, further help with this integration, I have created a guided meditation to help you attend to and integrate all these three selves. I'll be linking it down below, so be sure to check that out. And if you are craving as a spiritual woman healing like this, that is grounded, that is safe, that is practical, but helps you get into alignment with that spiritual, higher soul-centered part of you, stay in this space. Subscribe for more videos like this, more healing. This is what we do here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.